Good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world, where everything fits and nothing fits. Good morning. The title of this talk today is Don't Get Rid of the Wobble. Don't get rid of the wobble. Now, I remembered, back, what is a wobble? Is that back in the 50s and early in the 60s, you could get old cars, and if you didn't put oil in them, you'd be driving along, and I lost several cars this way, and you'd hear a little knock, 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 and you're throwing a rod, got a wobble, and it would increase, wow, 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 and the engine would freeze up. You have to throw the car away. So just getting an idea of a wobble, that if you have a system, everyday life is like everything you got, when everything fits, got all the bills paid, got everything is all sorted out, there's no wobbles, and then suddenly the washing machine breaks down. Oh no, one damn thing after another, one wobble after another. So the wobble, or I call it the wah-wah, the wah-wah, or a wobble, you see, is in everything. No matter how sorted out we get, no matter how we get everything to fit, finally everything fits. That seems to be the promised land. I know the English use the word sorted. I got it sorted out. I got it sorted out. I got everything fits. And then there's a new wobble, So where does this wobble come from? We keep trying to get rid of the wobble. There's a wobble in the marriage, There's a wobble with the kids. There's a wobble with the boss. There's a wobble with all my machines. There's a wobble with my life, Life has these wobbles, problems. And we believe with the right effort and the right analysis and the right computer and the right job and the right relationship, we can get rid of the wobbles. No more wobbles. Everything fits. But yet, as soon as everything fits, there's a new wobble. It's almost like the resolution of the wobble creates a new wobble. You got a bug, and it's got and it's a wobble, so they invent a new bug spray that kills the bugs, but that creates a new wobble, and now that killed the bees. And so on. We discovered, that science we thought would get rid of the wobbles, but now we've discovered that science creates new wobbles. So every new solution creates a new wobble. And we can't get it sorted out, you see. So it's just, there's a problem here. And gets back to Zen Fits, with the right effort and meditation and yoga and study, that we'll get rid of the wobble. We'll get rid of this irritation that something doesn't fit, this restlessness. This standing and looking at the refrigerator for something and not knowing what it is we're looking for. This restlessness, this wobble, And we really have to go into it because and use the wobble to get rid of the wobble. That's the only way, because you can't get rid of the wobble. Everything's going to have, no matter how good you've got, no matter what perfect solution you got, no matter how great the job, how much money you've won, there's going to be a wobble in it, you see. So everything comes with a built-in wobble, or creates a new wobble. And I was just talking to a friend, and and his son has just discovered Alan Watts. And so teachings like Alan Watts, or all of these spiritual teachers, basically will induce a wobble in your life. Buddhism is a wobble. Buddhism, if you get into Buddhism, you are arousing or awakening a wobble. And so what is a wobble, if you want to get down to it? It's a question that has no answer. It's a question, it's a pure question. What is this? So a wobble is kind of like a hot penny on a sheet of ice, or an iceberg. If you could put a hot penny, keep it hot, on an iceberg, it would eventually melt that whole iceberg. So that hot penny is a wobble. So instead of trying to get rid of the wobbles, let's take a different viewpoint. Let's shift the viewpoint to welcoming the wobble, to keeping that penny hot, you see. Because what the wobble does, basically, is melt the habit mind, and the mind that believes that with the right effort, everything will fit. And if I meditate and do yoga and do all these spiritual practices and do the mala, do the japa, and do this, then everything will fit. I'll get rid of all the wobbles. I'll be at peace. The restless mind will be at peace, you see. But this isn't going to work. Because the effort to get rid of the wobble is the wobble. The effort to get rid, the means to get to the end is the wobble. So we need to shift our viewpoint now. Since I can't get rid of the wobble, I want to do now is welcome the wobble and allow the wobble to allow the hot penny to melt the ice of the fixed mind. You see, we live in a mind that is fixed by words, by language. And words and language freeze knowing, let's put it that way. Knowing is, or knowing is frozen by language into habit thinking. So the wobble is whenever there's ice, whenever there's frozen mind, whenever we are in habit mind, and we're all in it. America is a habit mind. Everything is that we know is a pattern or a habit. That's how we can know it. We know the pattern. And it's always breaking up, you see, against our will. Why is this ending? Why can't we keep the same? Why can't we be perfect? Why does life have to change? I like my habit. I like my security. So habit is security. Habit is security. Even if my habit creates suffering, at least it's better than no habit. That's why people love their suffering, because suffering is security from no security, you see. In other words, even security that that creates suffering is better than no security. So we don't want to melt the iceberg. We don't want to melt the mind. We don't want to melt the fixed world, you see. So we resist the habit, the wobble. And yet, the wobble is our true nature. The wobble is knowing before it's fixed in knowledge, before it's fixed in the known. So what we know is an ice cube. What we know is fixed by the word. Words fix water into ice. But the water and the ice are not really different. You say water is ice is water. We're getting into Zen here. So the question, or the wobble, melts the ice so that water is ice and ice is water. And suddenly this wobble, if we welcome it, if we invite it in, will melt our frozen world and let it flow again. So the way out, so this really is so how do you let the wobble, which is the question, melt our frozen mind, fixed by words, you see. Well, it's basically the question. What, is this true? I just say stuff, and I believe stuff. I don't question it. The wobble will question it. The wobble is not an answer, but it questions what is known. So the answer is not another known, like, oh, I know what the answer is now. No, the wobble is the question of the known. So the answer is always the release of our attachment to the known, or the habit, you see. So known is the habit mind. It's known because it's existed in the past as a pattern, a frozen thing, a word, you see. So we're really interested in freeing my mind from the hurt locker, the frozen locker of words and choices and preferences and judgment, you see. All of that, you see, is frozen knowing. So this wobble will come in, this hot penny will come in, and it will melt if we nurture it, if we want it, if we want the ice to melt, is an intention. So the wobble is an intention to melt the habit mind and free knowing. And this Zen is prajna, paramita, is arousing the mind that does not rest on any ice, that does not rest on any form, does not rest on the known, does not rest on anything fixed. It melts it. It melts it, you see. That's what we want. We want to melt and release the water of knowing. This is not easy to conceptualize because that concept is an ice cube. So anyway, invite the wobble, nourish the wobble, warm the wobble, because you are the wobble. The wobble is you. Thanks for dropping in.